watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows mean. He gets claws real big, pissed off quick, and if you cross him you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the sword, never getting bored, loves the blood and gore, always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really understand until they feel the force departed. If you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness, torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you'll be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. Adrenaline pressure, it's stormy weather, lightning, thunder, pouring weather. Yo, I'm a go-getter, try to do it like me, but I do it better. I got a mind that's clever, the beast inside is competitive as ever. I'm conscious, my subconscious, an accomplice to me. I promise the darkness, I can honest believe. But don't cross me, I might lose control of the lost beast. He's locked away inside with the key control by fight or flight. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
All the barricades, I wanna know why they hold me back. Need a miracle to break me through, but I won't get that. If I was a real wonder, then I could save me from turning around, lift me off the ground, and one day I'm free. Yeah, I wanna be a real wonder. Heaven lift me up from under. Wishing I could be somehow stronger now, so I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me. Wishing I could be stronger, so I can be a real wonder.
If you wanna be a wonder, baby, come and show it. Tell me what you feel in your heart and your soul. There's nothing I would take for granted. With me, we'll make it through. Takes two hearts to fix heartbreak. We grew apart, I made a mistake, but I'll try to make it up to you, my darling. Ooh.
Yeah, I wanna be a real wonder. Heaven lifts me up from under. Wishing I could be somehow stronger now,
So I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me.
wish that I could be
Stronger, so I can be a real wonder. So I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me.
wish that I could be stronger, so I can be a real wonder.
Hello, my friends. What is going on? It's Kodiak on a Sunday night. Hey, third week in a row. This is kind of unprecedented. I don't know if I've ever been this consistent, and I'm pretty excited about that. And we're still working out some of the kinks. We're still working it out, but I will tell you, I managed to hit the record button this time, which for the guys on the inside know that I've missed that the last two streams. But I'm here. I'm excited to be with you all. I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We've got some cool stuff to talk about today, including some new trailers. Apparently I'm muted. No, I'm not muted. That's not true. Jeez, why do I listen to you, Livid? Livid's just yelling at me, telling me I was muted. Y'all can hear me in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Just give me some sort of something in the chat so I know that you can all hear me. It's been a long week. I don't know about you guys. Short weeks always seem like the longest weeks. And here I am sitting on a Sunday after 4 days off, and I am exhausted. But I'm also exhilarated at the same time. You know, we were going into December not really with like a clear plan. Like, I think we were kind of looking at December as like, all right, you know, maybe we'll do a couple end of year videos, things like that. But quite honestly, I think Livid and I and, you know, the extended team, Schmo and Nas and Apollo and Thick, we're getting excited about some big games coming up, and we'll talk a little bit about Marvel Rivals today, which is a game I think we're going to cover here on the channel. But there's also just some big stuff coming out in the month of December now. You know, Delta Force is coming out, free to play, Battlefield, Call of Duty competitor. You've also got the I'm blanking on it. How could I blank on it? Path of Exile 2 beta? Is it the beta? Early access. Early access. So exciting stuff coming in December. Usually December is a slower month for games. Like historically, December is never a big month. But yeah, here we are. I'm going to tweak volume, guys. I see you guys in the chat. I'm trying to blend a few things together. I just don't want my mic to peak. I'm going to bring it up. You guys just keep letting me know how things are sounding. I'm going to tweak things. I'm tweaking things. This is what happens when you stream. You tweak things. All right. This is now tweaked with new settings. You guys should hear me a little bit more clearly. You let me know. You let me know how things are going. checking in with you guys in the chat. I see a couple people repeating from the last couple weeks, but a couple new folks as well. So welcome, all of you. I can't pronounce any of your names. This is terrible. I can pronounce True Warrior 87. There we go. Nailed that one. Dakota Rose, great to see you back. I know you've been a follower of the channel for a long time, so thanks for stopping in. Harrigan Bergens 11. You guys, Remnant 2 video helped me a lot recently. Cool. I'm glad you're playing that recently. Remnant 2, man, just holds a special place in our hearts. My heart, Livid's heart, Schmo's heart. Oh, man, that game is so good. Super excited to see what that team is going to do because, you know, Remnant 2 is pretty much over, if not over, right? I'm sure they'll do one more thing, maybe something small, but, like, they're on to their next project. What that's going to be, we have no idea. B4LZ4KQ. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but any chance of streaming on Twitch? You know, one of the guys asked me that the other day. Are we going to stream on Twitch or at least like kind of dual stream? I don't know. I overboosted. Now I'm overboosted. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm really focused on the tech things first. Dodged. Got it. Gotcha, B4L. I'm going to call you Dodged from now on. I brought the volume. now the mic is hot. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go backwards now. It's so funny because it's not peaking at all in the software. So I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. I'm going to get rid of the noise gate. We'll start there. Dial back the audio just a little bit. I think I just need to get another audio interface. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna dual stream on Twitch. This just streaming in general is a step outside my comfort zone. I think we're gonna need to take this one kind of step by step. Scatha, good to see you in the chat, brother. It's been a long time. Glad you're here. Now the mic is good, just low. I don't know what you guys want from me. You guys have crazy expectations. I can't boost it in OBS. It's completely boosted in OBS. Schmo. Hike Energy 16. Great question. I am so excited for Hollow Knight Silksong. I genuinely cannot wait to play that game. There's if you looked at our December 2024 video, which just came out, if somebody wants to link it here in the chat for folks that maybe haven't seen it, there is a game in that list coming out next month called Symphonia, which looks and feels a lot like Silksong or Hollow Knight, whatever you want to call it. You know, Hollow Knight being the first one, Silksong being the sequel coming up. I didn't want you all to think that I didn't know the difference. Symphonia looks the same. It's got that kind of hand-drawn art style. It is a platformer. I think it's a lot less combat, but I don't know. And I'm kind of intrigued by the game. Let's see what else you guys saying here. Yeah, I know. Twitch is a better chat experience. I totally agree with you guys. Lizard says V-Rising videos helped a ton. Man, V-Rising is another game, and I will tell you guys just a little bit from behind the scenes. V-Rising is the game where Livid converted me into a die-hard PvPer. Now, I want to be really clear here. I am never going to go out of my way to choose PvP over PvE. I am always going to be a blue blood PvEer. That is who I am at my core. But V-Rising taught me to not be afraid of the PvP and to, in fact, embrace the PvP by seeking it out. And that seems kind of like weirdish or not exactly like clear, like you're either into PvP or you're not, but that's not entirely true. The PvP in V-Rising was so much fun when you had a coordinated team, which, you know, me, Livid, and our buddy Van, we were just dominant. Now, of course, you needed a fourth player, and we never really had that core fourth, but like just the three of us, we had so much fun playing that game. I can't say I necessarily agree with the way they've developed their game. You know, these big patches and then the game just disappears. I would have loved to see some way to keep that game alive more consistently, but, you know, it is what it is. John, just stopping by to say thanks for the guides for Black Myth Wukong and Remnant 2. You are welcome. Man, Black Myth Wukong, I actually was at an event tonight. I took my family to this kind of like, you know, holiday season lights thing, and it was all Chinese lantern lights. It was very cool. And there's this big statue of Wukong. Big statue. Like, I mean, I don't know, 20 feet. It's a full lantern of Wukong. It was very cool, and it just got me thinking about that game. I think the team is probably primed for a DLC soon. I think we're going to see something from that team. I don't know if they're coming at the Game Awards, but I would say, because they did so much stuff with Jeff Keighley through Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards, if they're going to do a DLC in 2025, they're going to announce something possibly this December. Yeah, crazy. Skada, I'm sorry you got booted from the old job, man, but glad you are back at a better place. And yeah, you never know. When a door closes, another one opens, right? All right, guys, we're going to dive into some stuff. Look, Schmo, I know you're going to be proud of me, man. I got everything working. I got stuff already set up. I've got the chat. Look at me, man. I'm learning. Zane, that's a really interesting question, man. It's so hard for me to talk about Game of the Year because unlike, some folks who are doing this full time, Livid, myself, we're not doing this full time. We still have lives and jobs outside of the channel. And while every fiber of my being wishes I could dedicate 10 more hours a day into the channel, it's just not possible. And what that means is we can't end up playing all the games that we want to play, right? So I think Game of the Year category this year, it's got some weird stuff, right? Like the DLC from Elden Ring is on there. Played that in game entirely, beat it all the way through. You've got Black Myth Wukong, which is my personal Game of the Year. I can talk about that for an hour if we really want to. And then there's some other ones, right? Like Astrobot. I didn't have a PlayStation 5. I didn't play Astrobot. I don't play Final Fantasy games. I'm not a big Final Fantasy guy, so I didn't play that one. That's also in the running. I don't even know what else is in the Game of the Year running at this point. But, most recent chat is cut in half. Dang it. I'm going to fix it. Because I don't want you to be upset with me, Shmo. I'm going to fix it right now in real time. We're doing it live. There we go. That's better. Helldivers, I think Livid and I, we joked earlier on in the year when Helldivers was first launching that the coolest thing that could happen this year, point blank, is hearing the Game Awards Orchestra play the dun 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 at the Game Awards, right? Like, man, I hope they still do it because Helldivers was such a huge, huge experience this year. Like, you cannot undersell what that launch did to just, like, the gaming culture at the time. Man, I just hope we just hear that drop pod music. Even if it's just that motif, right? Just the da-da-da-da. Like, I just want to hear that one time at the Game Awards. I will be happy. Yeah, if they didn't make so many blunders, man, it would have just been a slam dunk for Game of the Year. All right, guys. So here we are. Once again, I've got I've got the Reddit pulled up. The Reddit here is now available for anybody. And I'm going to pitch this every week until we've got somewhat of an audience. You guys can join the Legacy Gaming subreddit. You can follow it. And we want you to contribute. We're actually looking at ways to set up some sort of incentivization. It's not ready yet. But what we're hoping to do is to incentivize you guys to help us find content to dive into, to react to. I said this during the first stream. I just don't have enough time to play games, write scripts, help produce videos, and also keep a pulse on everything going on in the gaming world. I just don't. It's the reality of the situation, and especially when we are knee-deep in coverage. Like, if we're playing games, doing guides, writing scripts, it's crazy. And now we've got, such a big effort on our TikTok channel right now, which is doing fantastic. Shout out to our boy Nas, who's been running that for us. We spend a lot of time working on content, so like every other thing we add on top of that makes it a little bit harder. But we do have the Legacy Gaming subreddit. You can join. You can submit content to this for us to check out. I've got a bunch of stuff lined up, as you can see at the top here. And then we can dive into some other stuff that you guys might want to talk about. So here's what I want to do first. Shmo and Livid, keep me honest here because this has been a constant issue for us. So I'm just going to play this first one here. This is the Void Crew 1.0 launch trailer. Void Crew is a game, man, I wish we had the time and the people to play this. This is a co-op kind of like space ship management something. I don't really know exactly what genre you would call it. I want to play the trailer down. I'm just going to kind of talk over it. I just want you guys to give me kind of a heads up on volume. Now I'm going to bring volume of the stream on YouTube down about 50%. Let's just see what this is. We're not trying to do this for any sort of replay content. I just truly want to dial in the settings here. And we can watch this down together because I'm pretty excited about this one. Here we go. This is the Void Crew 1.0 launch trailer. I believe this game just launched last week.
Welcome aboard, followers of Medin. You are about to embark on the most important journey of our time.
Looks
Engage
super
Void
cool. I wish I was more into space games, but here we are. So 1 to 4 players on your spaceship. You've all got assignments to do. Lots of minigame stuff. Yeah, and there's some combat, there's some exploration stuff. I mean, it's a really cool looking game. Tons of customization stuff. Yeah, I mean, it looks really solid. I don't know enough about this team, to be honest with you. I don't know enough about the development of the game, but just all of the stuff that I'm seeing, and I'm actually going to bring this down to half speed here because, quite honestly, it's a really hard trailer to follow because there's so much stuff going on. But, you know, it's mixing a lot of really cool elements, right? It's got that kind of Among Us vibe to it where you're working together on these kind of these mini game sort of activities within your spaceship, but instead of trying to, you know, find the mole or find the rat, whatever, you're all working towards the common goal of just keeping your ship operational. The thing about a game like this, and I love Focus. We have worked with Focus a ton. They've published a lot of great games. We've covered a lot of their games. Their marketing efforts to get these types of games out to the public is often a bit lacking. And I don't know if that's just because they have such a big inventory of games that they don't have the money to do it. But, like, I did not see a lot about Void Crew except the launch trailer, which did pop up on my feed. And that was it. Like, there was no real hype for this game. And I'm not entirely sure. We're going to do a quick, a quick check here and see how this game is doing on SteamDB. Okay, not bad. I actually was expecting less. Like 4,000 players in game and growing. That is a great sign. Actually, that's a really good sign because we use SteamDB anytime we're trying to calibrate kind of a trend, right? If we're trying to see if a game is trending upwards, getting more popular, or trending downwards, getting less popular, we use SteamDB because it's pulling in data from Steam directly, including, you know, the approval and disapproval ratings, the concurrent players, and all the things associated with that. So to see the game's got an 85.91% approval rating and 4,000 players in game, and over the last month, let's see here, let's say the last week, we've peaked to over 4,000 players, and then when we started launch, it was peaking at 2,000, so it's almost doubled its audience in a week. That's really good. Now, of course, almost 5,000 players is not a ton, but when you look at these smaller studios, these studios that are trying to make a name for themselves, these sorts of steps help them get there. You know, one, it covers the cost of development or whatever, you know, expenses they have outlying, but it also just helps them get to that next step, right? We talked about Remnant 2 before. You know, Remnant 1 compared to Remnant 2 concurrent players. I don't know if it doubled, but it definitely jumped. And sometimes it takes those steps. You don't always have a banger of a hit, right? So the all-time peak for Remnant from the Ashes was 48,289, all right? So you talk about a leap, right? Remnant 2's all-time peak was 110,000, right? So that is more than double a jump, and that's fantastic. But again, slightly different, right? I think Gunfire Games would be considered a AA studio. I don't know if they're considered a AAA studio, to be honest. But, you know, they're not an indie studio. They have a lot of resources, but they don't have all of the resources. So a smaller game, a smaller crew like Void Crew, a smaller crew being the developers, they have to rely on publisher money and other things like that to kind of help them get into the market. And sometimes they're at the whim of the publisher to help market their game. So there is that. All right. I think we're good with volume. I think we're good. So Void Crew, we'll just check it off the list for today. I see Skada in the chat here. Of course, my man's going to ask about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yes, I fully intend on playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is a game and a series that, helped launch our channel in a way. We covered Assassin's Creed Valhalla a lot. I made so many videos for that game, and I learned a ton through that process, right? I still see comments on some of those videos about things that I did back then, when I was also writing, doing the voiceover, and then editing each of those videos. The channel has evolved a lot since then, right? We've got editors on the team that are helping us bring this content to life in new ways, frees us up to focus on the game itself. And Livin and I have joked, we really have only hit our stride a few different times this year. This year was the first year, and it hasn't even been a full year with our full team, right? So I think you guys know Schmo was on the team for a while, and then he kind of stepped back. We brought in some new editors, and then Schmo came back on. We've got Nas who's working on shorts. So, we have an amazing team of guys that are helping us bring this content to life. We just need these really big games to help us get to that point, because we're not the type of creators that can just kind of create in a vacuum, right? We want to create with the stuff that's new and upcoming. So for us, and I mentioned this before, we're looking at something like Marvel Rivals as a new opportunity for us. And how do we leverage all of our expertise in hero shooters and competitive games, bring that to life in content, and utilizing our team kind of bring that all to you in the content that you guys like, whether that be guides, reviews, whatever it may be. All right, let's dive back into the next one here. Schmo posted this one, and I actually really like the idea of talking about this because Lies of P is such a fascinating game. It is fun, challenging, but also infuriating. Now, I personally did not think this game was as good as a lot of people thought it was. I thought the concept was cool. I thought the world of Karat, I think it was called, something like that. I thought that was really cool, but I didn't think the combat was that great. It was a lot of parry-based combat, and personally, I don't like parry-based combat. I don't like trying to time a million different 1 or 2 shot hit attacks in a microscopic window, and that's honestly what I felt like this game did. So let's see what this is all about. So the headline reads, Lies of P DLC to launch in Q1 2025. NeoWiz now working on a sci-fi survival horror game. Pretty cool. So the Lies of P DLC isn't coming before the end of the year. That's no surprise. But Korean website EBN now reports today that NeoWiz confirmed it will be available in the first quarter of 2025. That's pretty interesting. Meanwhile, the studio is recruiting level designers and scenario planners for a new survival horror game set in a sci-fi universe. The title will be made with Unreal Engine 5 and released for PC and consoles. Let's see here. The report also claims that NeoWiz is in dire needs of a new success. While Lies of P performed well last year, selling 1 million units in less than a month, despite being available on the Game Pass subscription service, this year the company did not have any major releases in its lineup, which led to a 21% decrease in sales and a 68% decrease in operating profit. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about any of the numbers, but what I will tell you is Lies of P was a good game. Was it a great game? Debatable, but it was a good game. But the thing is, and this is the numbers coming to bite them in the butt, if they only have one release like that a year, it's not enough to keep that studio running. And that's the sad truth of some of these larger game companies that do have a lot of resources, but spend a lot of resources to make their game. Let's keep on reading here. Perhaps that's why the Korean studio recently signed a publishing deal with Polish developer Zakazane, founded by former CD Projekt Red developer. NeoWiz will publish their upcoming single-player noir western role-playing game. Lies of P earned an 8 out of 10 score here on WCCF Tech from Francesco De Mayo? That's a pretty cool name. But yeah, so look, I like Lies of P. I thought it was a really cool game. I definitely don't think it was an 8 out of 10. I think it was a very clear 7 out of 10. That's me. And I think what was so frustrating about that game is exactly what I said before. The combat. The combat felt incredibly stiff, and I get it. That's kind of the theme of the game. It's a lot of clockwork, soldiers and things like that. But ultimately, you don't want that when you're playing a Souls-like. You want a really intuitive and responsive combat system for for any Souls-like game, right? You want an intuitive and responsive combat system for a Souls-like game. There we go. That just feels good to play, and that's never really what I felt when I was playing Lies of P. All right, let's dive back in here. What's next? Okay, I have been waiting for this one because Marvel Rivals, as I've mentioned a few times already on the stream, we are going to be covering this game. This was I don't want to say it's a sleeper hit. It snuck up on us. Let's just put it that way. We do our best to kind of map out a year, and really what we wanted to do was try and find all the games that we want to cover early on in the year. And as we get towards the end of the year, we get a little lazy. We kind of fall off a little bit. And, during the Thanksgiving holiday, I often kind of catch up on work because I'm not inundated with like my day job. So I kept looking at Marvel Rivals stuff, and I was like, oh man, I think we could make a run at this. I think we could do something in this space. And, the more that I kind of looked at it, I was like, all right, I think we're going to do this. I shot Livid a ping and I said, hey, 24 hours, let's produce 2 videos. Let's figure out what we want to cover, and then let's dive in. And he actually pinged me tonight that said, like, the more he's been looking at this game, the more excited he is to play it. And I couldn't agree more because I am super excited to play this game. But I have not watched the launch trailer yet. This dropped yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago, maybe Friday. I am super excited about watching this with you all because I've been saving it. I saw it pop up in the stream, and I wanted to wait to watch it with you guys. So again, this is the Marvel Rivals Till the End official launch trailer. Let's check it out.
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon and I wonder.
Going through all the last minute heroes here. We'll talk about this in a second. I do know this part. I love the art style, by the way. Just like such a cool and unique art style that you don't see very often. Also, huge Moon Knight stand. Absolutely huge. Incredible cinematic. I mean, just a ton of fun, which is, I think, what you want to accomplish with a kind of a long trailer like this. So good. Just so good. Sorry, guys. I realized that was at full volume, so that's probably why it was a little louder than me. But yeah, Marvel Rivals is coming out on December 6th. There is so much to check out here, and I am just genuinely excited for this game. You saw in the first couple seconds here some of the latest heroes to be added to the game, and a lot of these heroes are actually just revealed in the last day or two. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I'll pause it right there. So what you're seeing on the screen is a few of the recently revealed characters. Storm and Magneto, I believe, have been revealed for a while. You've got Magic, who's been revealed for a while. But then you've got Psylocke, Wolverine, and Namor. And I believe all 3 of them are recently revealed characters. Now, we haven't seen the full moveset for Psylocke and Wolverine yet. And that is something I am looking forward to because who doesn't want to play as Wolverine in a hero shooter third-person game? Now, guys, this is a cinematic trailer for a third-person arena-style hero shooter. Go watch some of the other videos. There are a ton of videos out on this game. They had a closed beta test in August. There's just a ton of footage out there right now. But, if you're trying to get hyped about a game, then a trailer like this does its job, right? It's not a gameplay trailer. It's not supposed to show you gameplay stuff. I love this shot, too, because what are they doing? They're replicating the movie shot. That kind of 360 pan around the Avengers. You've got Hawkeye, Hulk, you've got Black Widow, Captain America, Iron Man, and Winter Soldier. I don't know if that's the true Avengers Corps. I don't know if Winter Soldier was ever actually an Avenger. I'm sorry, Marvel folks. I just don't know my Marvel lore that tightly. But still really cool to see them kind of paying homage to the movies here. Then you've got Jeff and Squirrel Girl. I don't know these characters at all. Like, at all. Livid tells me that Jeff is a healer. And usually in these types of games, I play some sort of support utility healer. So I might be checking I would go with he out. Squirrel Girl, I have no idea who that is or why they chose her. And then, oh man, how do you not get excited about this right here? Like, how do you not get excited about Moon Knight, Punisher, and Cloak and Dagger? Just, oh God, so cool. Just so cool. Moon Knight is one of my favorite new characters. I will fully admit I don't know much about Moon Knight, and I didn't until I started watching the TV show, and I just really like everything about him. He's a very cool character. Obviously, you saw Spider-Man there. You've got Magic Psylocke. I think there was a couple more new characters. Hawkeye we've already seen. But yeah, you kind of get an idea for what this game is going for, right? It is, again, third-person hero shooter, very flashy. If you guys check out any of the gameplay footage from Marvel Rivals, you will see it is an incredibly flashy game. And one thing that Livid sent me a message about before was about how kind of over the top everything is. Everything is tuned to a degree where anybody at any time could be OP, and that's an interesting take on a game, right? Often hero shooters in any sort of competitive game strive to be balanced, but balanced in the middle. This seems to almost be balanced at the top, right? When you're going all out and your rival is going all out, that's where they're trying to balance. Like, all of the abilities coming together, the ultimates, the team powers. There's some really cool stuff this game is trying to do. I believe it's free to play, battle pass system, tons of cosmetics, all the things. We're working on 2 videos right now for the launch of this game, and we will be probably diving into this one pretty deep for a little bit. So yeah, if this is the type of game that you like to play, or you're just looking for something new that's free during December, then keep an eye on this one. Like I said, there are other games coming out in December, Delta Force and Path of Exile 2 being 2 of the big ones. So yeah, there's a lot, actually surprisingly, that you can play this month. All right. I see a lot of you guys saying this is not your type of game. All right, fair enough. I mean, look, here's what's really interesting about our channel, right? We have covered so many different types of games. I couldn't find one genre for us, right? Like, if you said, what is Legacy Gaming's genre? I don't know. RPG, adventure, action, Souls-like. We've covered everything for the most part. So it's going to be really interesting for us to dive into a hero shooter space where we don't have a huge following. I actually played a lot of Paladins before I ever started doing content stuff. I really enjoyed that game. I thought it was a little bit less stressful than an Overwatch. It was a little bit more casual, which I enjoyed. And I just thought the characters and the movesets were a little bit more interesting than Overwatch. I thought Overwatch always felt a bit too competitive for me, and it always felt tuned for competitiveness, whereas Paladins always just felt a little bit more tuned for the fun aspect of it. I'm really excited to see how this like kind of full tilt scaling for Marvel Rivals works, because quite honestly, if like there's mechanics flying around, crazy abilities flashing across the screen, and it's a ton of fun, then that's a win. That's a win for me. What I will tell you guys is, just based on the people that have wish listed the game, the traction I'm seeing on the Marvel Rivals YouTube channel, and then like just the polish on their website, man, I think they got a really good thing going. I think we're going to be really surprised. I mean, a lot of folks, I don't think I'll be surprised, but I think a lot of folks might be surprised when that game pops off. I still think Path of Exile 2 is going to be the #1 game this December, but I think Marvel Rivals will have a really solid run, right? And I don't think those audiences cross over. We talk about this a lot, you know, when we're trying to figure out what games we want to cover and, you know, things we want to do on the channel. You know, a player that's playing Marvel Rivals may not be playing Path of Exile 2. That's all I'm saying. Those audiences may not cross over a ton, unless your name is like Kodiak, Livid, or Schmo, and you play both of those games, or any game really that's put in front of you. All right. Difficult Spare 3935 posted this on the Reddit, and this brought me back. It brought me back to a time and place where myself and Livid and Schmo were playing Darktide, and we were super excited about the future of the game. Whew! See, I'm getting choked up just talking about it. Let's take a break. Let me just take a sip here. Okay. There was a time and place where myself, Livid, and Schmo were getting really excited about Darktide before the game came out and at launch. We had a lot of fun covering the game. We did some videos like during the initial launch, and then things just kind of fell apart for it. I can't put my finger on any one thing that really, determined why we stopped playing it or why we didn't like it, but it didn't feel fully fleshed out during its initial launch period. The rewards that we got for playing the game and the missions, it just didn't feel satisfying. I think that was kind of the initial issue with it. And I remember asking one of their developers in Discord, I think it was, I said, hey, what's the long-term success plan for this game? Because at the time, Darktide actually had less players than Vermintide 2, which was their other game. So he was like, we're covering this game long-term. And truthfully, they have released a lot of stuff for Darktide. They have done a lot of cool things with Darktide. They have tried to reinvent this game. Before we even watch the trailer, let's just see what SteamDB says about the player base. Okay, almost, I would say, not almost, half, not even halfway. What am I doing? How do I do this? I don't even remember how to do this anymore. Over 9,000 players concurrently playing this game. Let's see what its peak was. All-time peak, 108K. That is really good. That is really solid. In the last 24 hours, they've had a 12,000 person peak. And you can kind of see here, right? Like, let's go back to the 3-month window. When the game launched, which was that here? Where did the game launch? Let's see. Let's go to the max timeline. Okay, so release. Huge spike. You can see the huge spike, right? And then, man, look at this drop-off. Crazy drop-off. Low thousands, right? And then, boom, you've got a spike up to 33,000. That was one big patch, obviously, up to 33,000. And then slower drop-off. That's better. And then some blips, right? That's probably a content update. That's probably a content update. And then we got a bigger bump here, 15,000. And then what's this one right here? The Humble Bundle. Okay, so it's part of Humble Bundle. Didn't actually see it grow that much. So the game itself is not doing terribly. But to Schmo's point, like, didn't enjoy it in the beginning, but definitely have this, like, longing for this type of game. The concept of the game is awesome. The nuts and bolts of the game, what you're doing in the game, are awesome. It just felt lacking initially. So let's dive into this one. Let's check it out and see what Darktide Havoc is all about. All right. Bring it up to 60% for you guys. Here we go.
You'll have seen by now that we have a new face aboard the Morning Star. I might let you backchat me, but if you do that with Duquesne, you won't even see the bullet that kills you.
Think you've proved yourself to the Emperor? Think again.
All right, we got a new endgame mode.
Welcome to Havoc Duty. Rise through the ranks as you battle the mayhem on the front lines.
Oh, cool. So a ton of apexes.
Succeed and
Very cool.
rewarded. Just don't fail.
So it's like a
the
prestige
Commissar.
system, I think.
You wouldn't want to lose your rank, would you?
Oh, you can
Havoc
lose rank.
Duty is where the most seasoned operatives prove themselves against the toughest war zones Tertium has to offer, proving their worth in ever-escalating encounters far from the Emperor's light.
Pressure pile, Captain and Chaos. I'm just fencing off the Captain.
Havoc as
incredibly
part of the
intense.
free Grim Protocols update, releasing on December 3rd. Only in death does duty end.
Cool. I mean, quite literally, I don't think anything about this game is going to bring me back to Darktide, but you have to tip your cap to the developers for continuing to believe in their game and doing what that dev told me in DMs, right? We're going to keep investing in our game. We're going to keep making it better, or listening to the community and trying to make it better. And very clearly, each incremental step has helped keep the game alive, right? And that's the same kind of concept that or approach, I should say, they took with Vermintide, Vermintide 2, where they wanted to constantly drip out content that might not necessarily bring back waves of players. Like, will a ton of players come back for an end game free content update? No. This patch goes live on the 3rd of December, so we will see. But at this point, over a year after its launch, it's very hard to bring players back to a game like this. I do think what we're seeing in this particular trailer is really interesting. Like, everything on screen, just based on my experience with this game, it looks incredibly challenging, right? Like, you're seeing a lot of those maulers with full body armor. Like, those guys are no joke. And then when you add some of the affixes on top of them where, they can do different things based on whatever Havoc difficulty you're on, or the map, or whatever the actual, qualifier is, that can be incredibly stressful. I mean, we were not even close to pushing the hardest difficulty in the game, and it was stressful. So, again, huge hats off to the team for constantly trying to push their game. In the bottom left there, you can see it's coming to PS5 on December 3rd as well. That is a great tie-in. I would say that any sorts of things they can do like that to bring the game to more people, introduce new content updates at the same time, it's a win. How big of a win it is for the developers, you're going to have to wait and see. Because, again, I don't think an end game mode is necessarily going to bring the masses back. You'd have to do something seismic and then spend a lot of money to try and convince people that a big enough change has been made, right? I can't think of a more perfect example of that in recent memory than what New World tried to do, right? New World launched, I don't even know how long ago, and it had this huge following, but a lot of clear flaws, right? And then recently, New World Eternum, the game relaunched, and they spent, this is Amazon we're talking about. They spent a lot of money. I couldn't scroll through Reddit without seeing an ad for New World Eternum. And, that's a game with almost unlimited resources, right, to market and develop and, do what they're going to do. A team like Fatshark does not have those kind of limitless resources, so they have to be smart about the way they approach kind of their post-launch content and really try and entice folks, or keep folks enticed that are already committed, right? You have two different groups of audiences when you talk about any game. You've got new players, people who have never played your game before, have never heard of your game before, and you're trying to convince them to come on and play the game for the first time. And then you've got your core audience, which is the folks that play, every day, every other day, whatever it may be. Those are the diehards, right? The folks on the Discords, the folks in the Reddit, subreddits. Those are the folks you want to retain. So you've got kind of a new player strategy and a retention strategy. And Fatshark has just kind of done their consistent, steady thing over the course of its launch of Darktide. And, it's working, but it's not working to insane numbers. But who knows? With a game coming to a new console, that always is a great opportunity to bring in new players that haven't had access to this game. So we'll see. And hopefully, for the sake of Fatshark and whatever their future endeavors are, to continue with the Warhammer 40K or Warhammer universe, depending on what game you're talking about, they can keep it going. So more to come. All right. You guys are being really quiet in the chat, and I need to take a break from reacting to trailers because I got a couple more things I want to talk about. But I need a pulse check on you guys. What games are we playing right now? What games are we looking forward to playing in maybe 2025? I still want to do that stream before the end of the year where we dive into the 25 games that we highlighted. Was it 25 games? 20 games, 25 games in 2025. It was a really cool list. There's some games I am super excited about, one that we talked about on stream 2 streams ago, Adamfall. I really hope that at the Game Awards we see Adamfall. I really want to stream the Game Awards this year. I hope it falls at a time where I can do it with you guys, because I'm hopeful that after like the weirdest year, 2024 was an incredibly weird year. We're going to see a lot at the Game Awards, and a lot of stuff that has maybe been on the radar but doesn't necessarily have the hype yet, like a Judas, a game that's being developed by Ken Levine's new studio, former BioShock creator. Some really cool stuff. You guys are playing, let's see, Orowin's playing Soul Reaver. I don't know that one. Livid is playing Star Citizen. Of course he is. Michael Baker dreams that he's playing GTA 6. Monster Hunter Wilds. Fun, interesting tidbit about Monster Hunter Wilds. I am going to challenge myself over the next month to dive into Monster Hunter World and really get myself acclimated with Monster Hunter. It's a game and a series that Livid and I have just not been able to get into, and we really want to cover Monster Hunter Wilds, and we want to kind of make a run at that. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time just kind of getting into that space and learning the systems a little bit, learning the mechanics, because it's not a space that both of us are comfortable in. So looking forward to that. Playing through Max Payne 3 again. Holy moly, that's a throwback. Max Payne was a game that I remember watching my dad play on the PC back in the day. And all I remember is the bullet time dual pistols, like that's all I remember. Yeah, man. Schmo, Dauntless comes out on Steam in a few days. Dauntless is not on Steam? That's fascinating. Was that an EA exclusive or whatever on the EA launcher? Talk about a game never getting traction. I mean, that's it right there. But that's cool that it's coming out on Steam. That'll be a really interesting to see. Is it not on Steam? Now I'm really curious. Let's see. Nope. Oh yeah, Dauntless. Here it is. Store. Yeah, December 5th. I see trailers here. Should we watch this trailer down? Let's go find the Dauntless trailer. Dauntless. 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Here it is. Dauntless. Okay. This is the perfect. Oh, it was Epic. You guys are right. Not the EA launcher. Perfect example of a game trying to rebrand, right? It's Dauntless Awakening now. It's not Dauntless. It's Dauntless Awakening. It's a different game. And yeah, if it's coming to Steam, like we all can admit, I think we're all smart enough here to admit that the Epic launcher, while it was great when it was offering free games, and hey, it's December, maybe they're giving a free game away every day, but like the Epic launcher itself is not great. It's not the platform people want to be on. Sometimes it's the platform they need to be on. But yeah, Dauntless is very clearly going to have more success on Steam, and in conjunction with a huge update, maybe it'll do well. Let's pull it up. Let's do it. Somebody was clearly watching it on the channel already, or maybe that was just my autoplay. Maybe Livid's already seen this. I don't know. All right, here we go. This is the Dauntless Awakening launch trailer. Let's check it out. Let's see if this could potentially rival or at least fill the gap for the Monster Hunter fans out there while we wait for Monster Hunter Wilds. I just have to say I hate the character models. I really do. I hate the cartoony, overly cartoony. There are levels to cartooniness, but I like the glider. I like the world. I really like the monster design. Yeah, very cool monster design. Yeah, I cannot get into these characters. The armor sets are okay. There's some cool armor sets in there. Some flashes. Vibrant Pets. All right. I mean, look, again, I think if it scratches the itch for players that are waiting for the Monster Hunter Wilds game, like this could definitely do it, right? You need to wait 2 months. Can Dauntless Awakening and kind of all this new content, this new season, hold you over? Possibly. It's very possible. I think there are a lot of people out there who wouldn't play a game like Dauntless just because it's on the Epic launcher. I know I have not played games, and we have not covered games because it was only on the Epic launcher. And to be honest with you, we know that a game that's on the Epic launcher exclusively is destined to fail, which is sad to say, but it's just the reality of the situation. We think all games should be on all platforms and available for everyone everywhere, right? It's why I don't like PlayStation exclusives either, right? We would love to cover a game like God of War, or I'm trying to think of another PlayStation exclusive, a Spider-Man game. But they're only on PlayStation, and, you know, we just really don't dabble in that space. Maybe in the future, who knows? But anyways, we're talking about Dauntless right now. The first thing that stands out to me is the overly cartoonish graphics, and specifically with the character models. I also don't remember them being that cartoony. They feel way beyond the pale, which is surprising because, like, this game is not that old, and, you know, I've played games like World of Warcraft for a very long time, and cartoony graphics do not bother me, but for whatever reason, the character models here really just don't look great. I will say the monsters look pretty awesome. I really like the way that the monsters look. Some of the armor sets looked okay. Some of them were just kind of vibrant for vibrance sake. One of my favorite things about armor sets is when it completes a look top to bottom and it all works together. That doesn't always happen with armor design. Sometimes people just add a ton of stuff and they make it brightly colored, and they think that's all that needs to happen. But it's actually kind of the little details that tie all of the armor pieces together that makes an armor set really special, right? I think of the Judgment set from T2 in World of Warcraft. It was how every piece worked with every other piece that made that one of the most iconic armor sets in video games, period, full stop. Dauntless doesn't quite achieve that. Again, there are some good armor sets here, but there are also some, you know, not great ones. And what I also really enjoy about this game, having never played it, is just based on the trailer, some of the abilities that you're seeing kind of on full display. I know Monster Hunter, and again, I don't have any experience with Monster Hunter, is largely driven by the weapons, and that's very clearly the case here. But also, if there are some more fantastical elements, hero abilities, things of that nature, whether that's tied to a weapon or not, provides a little bit more combat depth, which could be interesting. So Dauntless Awakening, it's coming out on, what was the date for this one? Was it December 5th? I think it was. Let's just wait till the end of the trailer. I think it's December 5th. Looks like it's going to be available for all platforms at this point. A new season launching concurrently with the update. And this is another one I think we should check out. And in terms of watching it on SteamDB, seeing how things unfold. Very cool. That was a nice little tangent away from what we were talking about. I saw a couple of you guys chimed in with things. Let's see here. What do you guys say? We can watch the Soul Reaver trailer. We're not done with trailers for the night. I just meant in that moment I was done with trailers. I don't know what Soul Reaver is, but I will pull it up. Maybe I'll know what it is. Are you talking about Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver? Or are you talking about a different game? Because Soul Reaver is actually on the December list that we just made and released, because the remastered version is coming out. Did it come out today? I can't remember when it came out. Hold on. Did it come out today? Soul Reaver remaster release date. Release date. Oh, no, it's December 10th. Yeah, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. So you're playing the old version, and what, in anticipation of the new one coming out on the 10th? 12/10. Very cool. Love that. I do like that. All right. I got two other trailers. Actually, I have a trailer and I have a news story pulled up. But we'll give it a beat. We'll just wait a second. Maybe we can start diving into some of the 2025 videos too. I don't think I'll be able to cover that in one stream anyways. There are 25 games on our 2025 list. And yeah, I don't know if I have that in me to do in one stream. So I'll pull up a couple of them as we're chatting here. But I am very curious, what at this point is the game you're most looking forward to in 2025? Just based on like what you know of 2025, what games are coming out, what are you most looking forward to? While I pull up some other trailers here. Pull up that one. What else is on our 2025 list? I keep closing it, which is not helpful. Oh, yes, I did pull up my LaCroix. Again, not sponsored, but happy to be sponsored by LaCroix or any seltzer company that wants to sponsor Legacy Gaming. I will gladly drink this in every video and on every stream. But yeah, this is so bougie. This is the Pamplemousse seltzer, which just means grapefruit, which is not my favorite type of seltzer, but here we are. All right, 2025 list of games. Here it is. All right, so let's do the top. Let's do 3 of them. I think 3 is probably enough for one night on top of the other things I want to look at with you guys. Which trailer? Oh, yeah, that's the one we want to look at. Absolutely the one we want to look at here. Okay, so I'm pulling up Dynasty Warrior Origins, Dune Awakening, and we're going to skip Civ 7. I'm not a big Civ guy. I know a lot of people are Civ folks. It's just not my game. That's not my game. Here we go. Okay, so we got that one. What was the latest? Must have been 3 months ago? Okay, 3 months ago. Oh, it's only a minute long? I don't like that. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing yet. Just trust me. Trust the process here, guys. Oh, that's a 23-minute showcase? We're not watching a 23-minute showcase. Or maybe we should. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Your chair head back is backwards. Yeah, man, it is because my hat. It's because of my hat. Look, if I flip it forward, there's logic. If I flip it forward, I can't put my hat back there. Yeah, now it's back, and actually you'll notice that every time I release a video and if I ever show up on camera, it's backwards. Because if I'm wearing a hat, it doesn't work. But fun fact, I don't often wear a hat unless I am doing content. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. All right, so I got a couple things pulled up. The first thing I want to dive into is this trailer that Schmo posted on the Discord. The Discord? Posted on the subreddit. Neon Blood. No idea what this is. Animated something. Is it a game? Is it a show? I don't know. We're going to find out together and hope it doesn't suck. All right, this is Neon Blood. Minute 13 runtime. 60% volume. Let's see if this is any good.
Peggy 16.
Okay. Neo-noir cyberpunk adventure. Oh! Livid, this looks like that other game a little bit. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. I love when they blend these styles together. The like incredibly cinematic, atmospheric, almost like fully 3D backgrounds, and then you've got this like 2.5D pixel stuff, whether it's 64-bit, I think it's 64-bit pixel art in the foreground. Super fascinating. Okay, I have no idea what this game is about, so we're going to have to watch this again and kind of figure it out in real time. It looks okay. I'll be honest, this is never going to be a game that wins over the masses. It's going to be for a very select few types of players who enjoy Cyberpunk, first and foremost, but also don't mind a little side scrollerness, that's not rapid fire combat, right? You can just tell from the first few scenes of this game that it's more of an adventure title. You see like the chat boxes above people's heads, so it's narrative driven. And I think there were elements of kind of like detective work, I think is what I saw. There was like a scan ability at some point. Yeah, there's one of them. But there is some fighting. What kind of fighting? Hard to say, but this definitely does not seem like the type of game that is combat first. Is it turn-based? It might be turn-based, to be honest with you. I'm going to back it up really quick, and I'll tell you why I think it's turn-based. Right. Where is that? Cool fight cinematics here, but then once you get... There it is. So once you actually get into a full fight situation, the interface in the top right kind of alludes to the fact that it's turn-based. You've got, you know... I don't know how to describe this, but like you've got a health bar that's only 16 points of health. Abilities probably only do, 2 or 3 pips of damage every attack. Those small things kind of give you hints that this is a turn-based game. Livid is telling me in the chat that it's a 4-hour game. So not big by any stretch, but hey, maybe this speaks to a certain crowd of folks out there. I'm sure this is a small indie developer that, could use some support. And, Livid and I have said from the beginning, we want to support indie devs that make cool games. So, yeah, if this is the type of game that, speaks to you, it's called Neon Blood. Is it out now? Let's find out. I think we're almost at the end card here. Neon Blood, available now. Looks like for Switch, PC, PS5, Xbox, maybe? Oh, yeah, there it is on the bottom right. Xbox. So there you go. Interesting looking game. Again, don't know if that's going to break any records, but Schmo, thanks for posting that. Guys, hey, if you're still around and you didn't know this, we have a Reddit. We need your help with new content. Schmo can't do all the work, guys. Okay, I can't pay Schmo for every Reddit post he puts on our subreddit, so we need your help. So join the subreddit. All you need to do, one video a week, one news article a week. It's not that hard. It's all we ask. If you love the work that we do, a few of you guys came into the chat, said, hey, we appreciated the work you did for Remnant 2, Black Myth Wukong, whatever, then help us. Help us to help you by, submitting one piece of content in the chat, in the subreddit every week. That would be awesome. And then we'd have, if 5 of you guys did that, that's 5 things we could talk about. No, Schmo, that's absolutely not an option. I don't know where you got that crazy idea. I definitely did not say that. I will deny it. I think you're grasping at straws here, my friend. Grasping at straws. And thank you for posting the subreddit again. All right, so I've got another one for you guys. This is really interesting. Now, here's what I can say. I am playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I am allowed to say that. What I am not allowed to say is anything else. So I'm not gonna say anything else. But I will read this, I will react to this, and I will leave this to your imaginations and for review embargo. So the headline is this: Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is by far the biggest and longest game that Machine Games have ever done, with nearly 4 hours of cutscenes. Let's check it out. This is an article from Game Radar Plus. Subheadline: that's like 2 free Indiana Jones movies with your Indiana Jones game. Let's see here. Modern Wolfenstein developer Machine Games is taking some big swings with its new project Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and that includes the game's scope. Indy's adventure is apparently going to be the lengthiest the game studio has ever put together. By far, this is the biggest and longest game that Machine Games has ever done, creative director Axel, that is a great name, said in a rapid-fire interview session with MinMax. He doesn't get specific about the exact hour count, but according to How Long to Beat, Wolfenstein: The New Order and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus both clock in around the 11 to 17 hour range, depending on how much side content you undertake. With Indy placing more emphasis on puzzles and exploration, it's easy to see how it might eclipse the studio's previous games. Asked how many hours of cutscenes are in the game, Torvanius says there's roughly 3 hours and 45 or 40 minutes or something along those lines. It's a lot. That's roughly in line with the non-interactive parts of Wolfenstein 2, as YouTube supercuts of that game's cutscenes run between 3 and 4 hours, depending on the fan who's doing the editing. All right, just to save you all from the ad nauseousness on that page, which, man, let's talk about websites and how egregious their ad stuff is. That was terrible, right? There's like 9 ads on the screen. This is a really interesting game. Looking at the trailers and seeing Indiana Jones kind of come to life. I think in the last stream, one of you guys told me that one of the main characters from Left 4 Dead is voicing Indiana Jones, and we've heard that in the trailers. It sounds really good. How that will all come together on the screen in an adventure game, a first-person adventure game, no less, is going to be really interesting to see. When I look at a game like this and think about a game like this, of course, I want it to feel like an Indiana Jones movie, but I'm still playing a game, so I need it to feel like a really competent game. And initially, when I think of like an adventure, puzzle, platforming type of game, I'd think more of like an Uncharted, a third-person adventure game. So for this to be a first-person game is going to be really interesting. Very narrative-driven. Clearly, Machine Games just said 3 hours and 45 minutes of cutscenes is a lot of time, right? If a game is only 11 hours long or 17 hours long, which was the range that they gave us in that article, and there's 3.5 hours, 4 hours worth of cutscenes, as part of that experience, it eats up a lot of time. That's not a quarter. It's not quite a quarter, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. No, not quite a quarter. But it's getting there depending on what that end number actually is for the game. So I am genuinely excited about this game. Like I said, I am playing it. I am not that far. I don't think I'm breaking any sort of rules by telling you I'm not that far into it. The embargo comes up on the 5th, which I believe is the early access. I think you can get 3 days of early access by buying it. I really don't know. But I'm really excited to check it out. I hope it's a good game because it seems like there's a lot of passion just based on the trailers and a lot of thought put into bringing Indiana Jones to life. And we'll see if that holds true. We will see. All right. I don't know what I clicked on something weird over here. So here's what I want to do. I've got 3 trailers. I've got Dynasty Warriors Origins, Dune Awakening, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Those are the first 3 games on our games to look out for in 2025. We already released that video on the channel, and that video breaks down what those games are. Now, I kind of want to dive into how I feel about those games, which we don't often do in our videos, right? That's the whole reason why we're doing this streaming thing, is because we don't often tell you guys, unless it's a review, how something makes us feel. And that's how it should be, right? If we're bringing you a guide or a walkthrough or even a news piece of content, our opinions don't really matter unless it's an opinion-driven piece of content, which is why you guys are here with us for the stream, right? Because crazy enough, some people actually care about what I think, which is wild. Even after doing this for almost 5 years, it's still a little wild to me. So the first one on the list is Dynasty Warrior Origins. I will admit I am historically not a huge Dynasty Warriors fan. I think the concept is a little outdated. The 1,000 versus 1 never felt good, never felt fun to me. It just felt like a slog. Not a lot of games do this. There was one game that was revealed at Summer Game Fest that felt a little Dynasty Warrior-esque. I think it was a Scottish game. A game rooted in like Scottish lore. And maybe Livid or Schmo remember the one I'm talking about. But it was kind of cool looking and felt similar to what Dynasty Warriors used to be. But this is the latest Dynasty Warrior game coming out in January, I believe. So let's dive in. This is Dynasty Warrior Origins. This is the announcement trailer. I figured this would be the best place to start because they're going to show a little bit of everything.
soldiers and officials alike, oppress the people for personal gain, and the people must turn to thievery for food. Perhaps this is heaven's way of lamenting the state of the land. Men are powerless at the feet of the divine. But even so, someone must act.
You got the reverse grip on the sword. That was pretty good. It's a lot of action, no doubt about that. There's a lot going on the screen. All right, so coming 2025, like I said, this one's coming out in January. I do remember that from writing the script. But, you know, again, there's just a concept here that I think works and doesn't work at the same time. Like the gameplay that we saw, which was limited, let's just be honest here, it looks good. Graphically, it looks cool. You know, everything kind of feels really defined. You very clearly know who's on your side and who's on the enemy side. But I always often felt like it never felt like a true war. It just felt like developers threw a bunch of guys on screen and you have these insane abilities that can just knock 50 of them out at a time. And like, truthfully, when I think of an epic war with an overpowered hero, or in this case, a villain, I think of that scene from the very beginning of Lord of the Rings, where they're describing who Sauron is, right? And he's got his mace, and he's swinging that thing, and like he's knocking 5 guys off at a clip. This takes that idea to the nth degree, and I'm not saying that this was ever supposed to feel realistic, but it just doesn't feel grounded in anything. So what you end up with is just a button mashing simulator. Now, I know there's a little bit more depth to it after researching the game, where you are looking at a battlefield and you are controlling your troops in a certain way, but it's not like, you know, grand army strategy style. I think you're moving some forces forward, telling them to attack here, and then you've got to go run over there to provide support. Your army alone can't ever actually push into a territory or a different part of whatever you're assaulting. You often have to come, or almost always have to come, to be the muscle. I don't know. It's not my type of game. I'm not saying it's not anybody's type of game. I'm just saying it's not my type of game. And just because we've done this a few times now, I'm really curious what the, let's see, Dynasty Warriors 9, I believe, was the last one. Yeah, I mean, so Dynasty Warriors 9 was the last one. It was released in 2018. It's got 78 people concurrently playing. Fine, that's not a big deal. But it's the 36% negative rating that really stinks. And I know a large part of that was because the game was single player only. Hey, I've got bad news for you. Dynasty Warriors Origins is also single player only, which stinks because you can't connect multiplayer online with other players and play a game that is very clearly intended for multiple players, which is a little disappointing, right? Maybe they changed Dynasty Warrior. Now I want to look it up and make sure I got this right for you guys. I got Steam pulled up over here. I want to make sure Dynasty Warriors Origins. Man, $70 game too. Woof. Hey, there's a demo. You could play a demo right now if you wanted to. That's cool. Yeah, look, it's not even over here. Single player game, no online, no multiplayer, in a massive war game. I don't know how much fun you can have swinging a weapon and just cutting through thousands of dudes by yourself and have that be fun for a sustained period of time. I personally, I don't get it. All right. I need a breather. I just need a second. I need some. Look, I'm not drinking anything fancy this time. I'm just drinking water. I just need some water for a second. my voice is still not accustomed to doing the stream thing, even if it's just once a week. I genuinely do not know how people do this day in and day out. I don't. All right. So here's what's next. We're going to look at the Dune Awakening exclusive gameplay reveal trailer. This launched 3 months ago. 7.1 million views. If you do not think this game is going to be huge in 2025, you are crazy. I am just concerned. This game is going to launch in February alongside the 10 other games that are launching in February, and that is going to suck. It's absolutely going to suck. So, we're going to dive into this one. Dune Awakening exclusive gameplay reveal. It's 5 minutes. Hang with me, because I think there's going to be a lot to talk about on the other side of this. Here we go.
For you. There is another path for you. Awaken.
Oh man, it just looks so good.
You
right off the
begin
rip.
as a nameless prisoner. Sculpt your appearance, choose your background, and then crash into the planet. You are abandoned and alone. Hunted by
So
sandworms. Scorched by the unforgiving sun. Ravaged by sunstroke. Stick to the shade. Chase the moving shadows. Survive. Welcome to Arrakis, the most dangerous planet in the universe. Meet hundreds of other players in the vast online world. Befriend or betray those you meet. Form a wary alliance, in this case, a spit dart rifle and a still suit, for your help taking down territorial deserters. Working with others will always increase your chance of staying alive. The Deserter Base. Climb to a vantage point and prepare for violence. Your choice of weapons and abilities determines your strategy. Swordmasters lead the charge into battle, literally. Repel ranged attacks with a shield, and then take them out, one by one. Deploy the Hunter-Seeker and kill from the shadows. Take what you can from the Fallen. On Arrakis, nothing of value is wasted.
Such a good showcase of the game already.
Mine,
Really
harvest,
well done trailer.
and gather with your group to build bases and unlock more advanced equipment, like the Blood Purifier. Refine the blood you collected from your enemies to extract drinkable water. Craft improved equipment using fabricators. Replicate your bases in new locations with the blueprint system, and then
man, that's
sell
so
blueprints
awesome.
of your architectural wonders to other players. Lead your group to become a guild. On Arrakis, a nameless prisoner can rise. Construct an ornithopter.
Let's go.
And take to the air. The world is yours
that's the part
to
I'm
claim.
most looking forward to.
This is Dune Man Keith Filani.
I will 100% be driving. If Livid is saying anything in the chat, do not believe me.
My crew found a shortcut. We become
The in-game radio provides insight into key events happening across Arrakis. Map the desert. Discover
Look at that
landmarks, wrecked ships,
So
and
big.
desert testing stations. Filled with forgotten technology. Arrakis is a vast planet. You can explore unique locations, uncover valuable resources, and search for secrets amongst the shifting dunes.
I mean,
then
man, look at that. It just looks so
return
cool.
to civilization triumphant with what you found. Harko Village throngs with people, spice traders, guild bankers, smugglers, house envoys, and of course, other players. Here, you will pledge allegiance to one of the great houses of Dune. the Harkonnen. But remember, to
Man,
play
potential,
politics,
man. This game has
you
so
need
much
power.
potential.
And on Arrakis, spice is power. In the deep
There it is.
desert beyond the shield wall, hundreds of players scour the landscape, hunting for spice. Every spice blow has the potential to become a heated battle, with
go.
multiple guilds vying
some
for the
tanks.
precious melange. Even when it looks like defeat is inevitable, those who understand desert power can awaken Arrakis itself.
Jeez Louise. Man, if this game is half as good as that trailer, woo, baby. Oh, man. I am so flippin' excited about this one. I can't even tell you guys. And I'll tell you why. I think it was, no, we covered it on the channel. We spent a lot of time playing and covering Last Oasis. We have talked about that game internally for forever. We joke about it on streams occasionally. That survival game unlocked something within me that just made me constantly crave a MMO style survival game. And Dune Awakening is so close to Last Oasis in so many different ways that I think I'm just wired to get hyped about this game. Right now, I can tell you that Livid has been playing in some testing. I wouldn't call it any it's probably a near complete-ish state, but I don't know exactly what state it is because I have not played it. So all I've done is watch the dev diaries, check out these trailers with you guys, and man, this is the best one of the lot. This really gives you a clear look into how this game is going to operate, from things like this, the UI, the character design. There was some character customization before, but then the world itself. I just think the world of Arrakis and what this team is trying to do is probably the most exciting aspect of it at this point, right? What I think it's a little later in the trailer you see on the map shot is all of these points of interest that you can explore as a player. And I think the map of Arrakis itself is going to be absolutely massive, and that fits, right? If you're trying to clear out these locations against or with other teams, you need a lot of places to check out. So I think it's going to be point of interest driven. I think you're going to be able to scavenge a lot of cool stuff. And then, of course, you cannot forget about the building and the gathering aspect of this game. What makes a survival game a survival game? What we saw a lot of in all the trailers leading up to this was the adventure side of things, the clearing out a point of interest and fighting enemies and doing all of those things, looting. But what we didn't really see was the building and the harvesting. And this blueprint system is game-changing, right? Being able to copy your base and plunk it down somewhere else. And it's using a very similar system as what Last Oasis did with framing, where you put the kind of the shell of the item down and then you add the components to it. A few other survival games have done that, I know. But sometimes little things like that, little quality of life things, can make a huge difference, right? Especially when you're playing with other players. I want to be able to put down a blueprint and then just have the team rush in and drop in some resources. And that was the map I was talking about. I'm going to pause it really quick and go back. Look at that map, man. Look at all of those points of interest. So many things to see and do within each cluster of rock. Now, remember, the open desert is incredibly deadly for a number of reasons. Sandworms, heat exposure, etc. And so you're going to find all sorts of things to do in those kind of rock outcroppings. But also, the world itself constantly changes once you get out of the starting map. Once you get into the deep desert, the wind storms, I forget what they're called, the borealis storms maybe, are going to change up the map on a constant cycle. I don't know what that cycle looks like, but we are not going to run out of things to do. And that is such a huge part of a successful, persistent survival game. Man, cannot wait to check this out. I have been avoiding it because I'm just so excited. And then, you know, for me, as somebody who just loves vehicles and games, like the Ornithopter, the bike, the tank, I don't know what their official names are. Sorry, Dune fans, I just don't. This is like my dream come true. And then you add the multiplayer element to it. Like, yeah, I want to freaking fly this thing around, drop ship into, you know, an enemy base and just go nuts or something along those lines. And that's what the game is allowing us to do. And then you add these hub cities into the mix. Like, man, talk about a competent game, right? Just absolutely top to bottom, competent design philosophy. I don't want to say the game is competent yet because I haven't played it, but the philosophy behind the game, what this team is trying to do is really impressive. And for those that don't know, Dune Awakening is being developed by the same folks that developed Conan Exiles, which is a wildly popular MMO survival game, just, you know, a little bit dated at this point. And this is a completely new experience that can go one of two ways, right? Let's just call a spade a spade. A game based on established IP could be fantastic, or it could be a complete train wreck. Everything that we're seeing here does not strike me as a complete train wreck. It actually strikes me as, wow, this is really cool, and I cannot wait to play it. And I don't think we're going to have to wait long, guys. I think this game is coming out sooner rather than later. It said early 2025. Man, I'd be pumped if this was a January release, but I am genuinely worried this is going to be a February release. That would be just terrible, but we will see. So Dune Awakening, I saw somebody asking what game this is. Dune Awakening, a new MMO survival game coming out sometime in the first part of 2025. I think we're going to learn a little bit more about this one at the Game Awards. So, you know, maybe check that out and check back in after the Game Awards, and we'll do some reaction content to whatever new stuff pops up. All right. We've got one more trailer on the docket for the night. Yeah, dude, Liv, man, March. Let's go. If we could get a game in March, like a good game in March, I'd be okay with that. Adamfall is also March, but I'd be willing to pass on Adamfall for Dune Awakening, just given how excited we both are for Dune Awakening. All right. I want to do one more trailer. This is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is the last of the trailers for tonight. This is the gameplay teaser from 3 months ago, so it's a little bit dated. There is a 25-minute gameplay deep dive if you're into that sort of thing. I am not into that sort of thing tonight. I am getting a little tired. I got a full week of work coming up, so I want to wrap up a few minutes early tonight. I got to finish a script for Marvel Rivals. There's a lot of stuff going on here at the channel. Again, one more shout out to the team who helps us kind of keep this ship going every day, day in and day out. Reminder, if you are not part of the subreddit, to join the subreddit, post content. We're looking for gaming content, guys. Any sorts of games, trailers, news, exciting stuff in the industry, post it in there. We'll check it out every week. And, you know, maybe you'll end up on the stream. Who knows? All right, the last of the games we're going to talk about today, this is a look ahead to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is a big game coming out in 2025. It made it onto our top 25 games of 2025. If you have not checked out that full video on the main channel, definitely check that out. This is the gameplay teaser. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and let's see what is in store for us with this one, which is really shaping up to be a cool-looking game.
Peggy 18.
I have concluded a very fragile truce with Sigismund, and if anyone should disrupt my plans with headstrong acts of violence, there will be consequences.
I intend to wage war, not parley.
Everything all right, eh?
We need more people. The best thing would be to recruit from your old comrades.
Well, if they're not already swinging on the gallows somewhere.
Will you help us, Henry?
Really cool. bloody. Nice.
I like that boy already.
All right. So the full gameplay video, like I said, is out. You can go watch that. I think it's 20-something minutes long. Maybe we should watch longer videos. I don't know. It's just not something we've done here on the channel, but, you know, maybe we could. Is this a different one? It's the official announced trailer. That's okay. We could talk over this. So I really like the idea of Kingdom Come Deliverance and Deliverance 2. It's a first-person fantasy RPG set in feudal period, which is like literally if you were to develop or talk about a concept that like is textbook me, it's that. Like I love all of those things. The one thing about this game that just pushes me slightly away is the combat. And I am not saying by any stretch it's bad. It's just that I am not particularly fond of like melee sword fighting and like the feudal style of combat. I just have never been that into it because one, I'm not great at it, especially when you talk about an advanced system like what Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is doing with directional combat and kind of stringing together complex series of moves. But also, I don't like that kind of, I don't know, there's just something about it I can't put my finger on. I would rather use a bow or a crossbow, which I know they're adding more of those types of weapons into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but just kind of like the intimacy of a one-on-one sword fight, like it just gets my heart racing in a way that I've never truly enjoyed. And that was partially why, like, when I play a game like V Rising, we talked about that before, you know, I get a little, like, almost nervous. Like, I just don't like that rush the same way that I do when I'm playing a shooter or, you know, more of a science fiction fantasy game. This sort of stuff does not necessarily appeal to me, but talk about a cool and innovative style of combat. I don't think there are very many other games that are doing this. Right, and they're all in this genre, right? You've got Mordhau is one of them. There's a few other kind of medieval period games that do this sort of very intense melee combat. But ultimately, what Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has to deliver on is all of the other things, right? I think we already know based on the first game what the competency of the combat system will be. It's all of the other stuff that they need to kind of flesh out, right? The open world, the narrative-driven elements of the game, which you're still playing with Henry, who is the character from the first game, and you're trying to continue his storyline in a new direction after the events of the first game. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that they can continue, but they have to expand, right? They have to expand this to be more quests that reward better things that keep you invested in the game long term, because that is the kicker with a big open world RPG. It has to keep you invested. You think about the great games like Legend of Zelda, like Skyrim, like The Witcher 3. What do they do so well? They keep you invested as long as humanly possible. And what that means is giving you a variety of things to do, but also rewarding you for that variety of things that you're doing. So they've got their work cut out for them, but truthfully, I don't think anybody denies that Warhorse is not up to the challenge. The first game, incredibly well received. We're going to do what we've done in the past year and just take a quick peek at Kingdom Come Deliverance. Let's see what the numbers are here, guys. There's still 6,000 people playing this game. It released in 2018. It's got an 82% approval. There is room for growth there, guys. Huge room for growth there at an all-time peak of 96,000. So if this game had an all-time peak of 96,000, and you can see over the last month, there is some growth here, peaking over 10,000 in the last 24 hours. There's excitement building for this game. This game is going to speak to a much bigger audience than what the first game spoke to. And I just genuinely think this is going to be a really exciting time if you're into this type of game. Here's the thing. I believe this game is coming out in February, right? Kingdom Come Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 release date. February 11th. Smack dab in the middle of February. That is a tough time to be a game developer because you've got Monster Hunter Wilds, you've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you've got possibly Dune Awakening, you've got a lot of games coming out in February, and they're all going to be fighting for attention. So while I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looks really cool, I think it's going to get a huge crowd no matter what. I think a lot of people are going to check out that game. It's fighting for airspace, and they do this every year. February is just this crazy month of gaming where there is not enough time in the day. I don't know why they do it, but it does give us a fun opportunity to look back at the end of the month to see which game kind of rose to the top, right? The cream always rises to the top. What game that is in 2025, I just genuinely do not know. But more to come. We're going to continue our 2025 series on the next stream. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there just because I got some other work that I got to do. As always, I appreciate you spending a little bit of your Sunday with us. And again, the subreddit is available to everybody. Jump in there, post some content, join us on the Discord. That's where we're posting all of our videos. Check out the TikTok channel if you have not done that already. We're growing pretty quickly on TikTok, which is exciting to see. And yeah, just a lot of cool stuff coming from the channel in the next month and, of course, next year and beyond. So thank you, guys. As always, my name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks so much for watching, and play on. We will see you guys next time. Thanks.